What's going on, everybody? It's boy Adam once again. It is #homeless, and it is day 82, and I'm just gonna jump right into some things that I wrote down. Definitely feeling better today than yesterday, that's for sure. At least the physical body is better. Last night I came back to the shelter early. I left the library. I grabbed a little bite to eat. Well, more than a little bite to eat, but so around 3:30, 3:50, somewhere around between 3 and 4, I left the library, grabbed some food, went back to the homeless shelter. It was 4:15 or so when I got to the shelter, and it was 4:30 when I fell asleep. And I slept until about 15 minutes before they served dinner. And even though I wasn't hungry, pretty much, I don't know. They do make everybody go down to the meal when it's mealtime. I don't know if being in the private room situation, they have different rules for you if you're in that situation there. So I'm not 100% sure if I would have had to go down to the anyway, I went down and I ate some more. And I ate too much. And, but right after we ate, I went back upstairs and I tried to stay awake. I called my best friend down in Texas to talk for a few. And I'm still brainstorming on these business name ideas. And so I did that. But before 8 o'clock, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I went to bed. I went to bed before 8 p.m. And, slept through pretty much the whole night. Woke up once or twice to go to the bathroom and stuff, and I remember at 11:30 or so, I woke up, and I threw on a podcast, and I fell right back asleep. And I spent the whole night sleeping, and so this morning I woke up early, and I left the homeless shelter before they even served breakfast. Because I'm not hungry. I ate too much yesterday, and B, I try to get out of there. Took me about half an hour to find a place to sit and talk to you guys this morning because it's raining a little bit, but it's kind of like this weird Jamestown morning sprinkle that happens. It's weird. There's no rain on the radar. So there's no like blob of radar coming across the screen. So I'm just sitting out in the open. It's not a big deal. I'm getting a few drops here and there, but the homeless are taking over all the parks. And I'm one of them. I'm a homeless guy now. I'm living in a homeless shelter, but I'm not judging. I'm just saying that ever since Jamestown declared a state of emergency for the homeless problem, quote unquote, they oh man, I gotta hit pause here for a second because I gotta figure out something with this phone. My phone just keeps shutting off on me, so hold on a second. All right, I'm back. I'm doing things a little bit different today. When I picked up my boots, I have it's called the Joby GorillaPod portable flexible camera tripod, and I've had this. I threw it in my backpack because I have a real camera in my backpack here, and so I've been keeping this little tripod in a locker at the homeless shelter because I don't really have a use for it and I don't feel like carrying it around. Well, when I was at Walmart buying a set of boots, I found a clamp for a phone to grab onto a phone that screws on to this tripod, and it was $10. So I thought, since I'm already here at Walmart, I'll just get this thing, and then maybe I can use this little tripod to do these videos with, so I don't have to hold the phone in my hand anymore. But because I'm switching away from the camera app, and I'm looking at some bullet points and notes that I've jotted down, now that I'm not holding the camera in my hand, the screen's shutting off every 30 seconds. So I had to go and change the setting on that to keep, because I keep having to reach up and grab the phone to keep the thing from turning off on me. So so this should be okay. It should go for a while without me having to mess with it. But yeah, so physically I'm feeling okay today. The only thing that hurts are my feet, and that's just my toes. I've got a lot of calluses and corns that have developed over the last few weeks, and they're just irritated no matter what shoes I'm wearing. But the boots, the new boots, they're fine. They're comfortable. I like them for the most part. The only thing I don't like is that they're a little heavy. They're just a little weighty. For, when your hiking boots are typically a lot lighter. The Keen boots that I wear are a little bit heavy in terms of hiking boot weight compared to like a really lightweight trail shoe, but they're rugged and they're more durable, especially when they're new. These are definitely some pretty rugged boots, but they're a little heavy. They got the steel toe and that adds weight, but they're just overall heavy. They got really thick soles on them, and they're just thick, and they're heavy boots. So the weight difference is, I feel the weight difference, but I've been exhausted the last couple of days, so that's hard to make a judgment on what the weight of these boots are, because I'm feeling the weight more because I'm so tired. But overall, there's like a cop walking by, so I don't know what's going on here. Hold on. What the hell are they doing? I might have to hit stop again. I might have to switch. Something's going on here. Hold on. All right, I think the cops are down here clearing out some of the homeless people. Ever since they declared that state of emergency, they're basically trying to pretend like they care. But all they're doing is, so there's people camped out by the riverbank down here, and they're just gonna have to pack up and go to a different part of the riverbank, I guess. And I don't know, man. I think it's like a security guard for this building I'm sitting next to called the cops to have them cleared out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to go back to this. But yeah, the boots, they're good so far. They're definitely working. Comfortable. Like I said, my toes need some fixing, but that has nothing to do with these boots. Oh my God, now there's a whole bunch more cops. What the? You cannot, in Jamestown, you cannot find a place to just sit and chill. You just can't. It's impossible. I was planning on going to Tim Hortons when I'm done shooting this video. I'm just watching them. I think that's all they're here for, is to break up a homeless camp. But there's a bunch that just showed up. They're just like right down the way. So anyhow. But yeah, I woke up a couple times last night. But overall, I got a really good night's sleep. And I needed it. And I feel it today. Physically, it definitely made a difference. I'm not feeling the same level of sluggishness and just... I was feeling pretty rough yesterday, and it just, I had a feeling yesterday was going to be like that. Mentally, I'm way off track. I'm way off track this week. I'm really going out of my mind because of this forced housing search from social services, because they're getting really nasty with me about the fact that I found all 10 apartments in this town, and they're basically making this demand that I try harder and find more. And there aren't any more. And I talk to people who know, the people who run the homeless shelter, and I tell them, and they're like, yeah, we know. We know there isn't any place to live here. Like I'm not alone in everybody except for social services that I'm talking to about this ridiculous request that I look at 5 apartments every week. When I tell them that I found all 10, they're like, yeah, we know. These people know because they run the homeless shelter, and part of their goal is to help people find a home. And so they know that there's nothing available in town. They know that it's like winning the lottery to get a place to live here. So I actually did look down in Houston, Texas. Just a quick, very, very quick search on Facebook Marketplace under the rental section. There were like 1,500 available places to live. Several affordable places not too far from where my friend lives, north of Houston. He lives outside the city. And, son of a bitch. Comes a whole... Here they come. Hold on a second. Jesus fuck. This place. Can't stand this fucking place. This place. I'm so tired of Jamestown. But yeah, I guess it takes 6 cops to tell a couple of homeless people to pack their stuff and move somewhere else. That's pretty much all I can see was going on here. But there's a building along the riverfront here, and I think the security guards at the building were the ones that called the cops. Because we can't have that on our lawn. So they're just going to move to somebody else's lawn, and that's the way it's going to be. So yeah, back to the forced housing search is the one thing that social services is doing to me that just is... I didn't turn in my search yesterday because I couldn't find anything. But I looked in Houston, 1,500 available apartments and houses for rent, all within a reasonable price range, I didn't dig deep. I just wanted to see how many show up. You do the same thing for Jamestown, you get like 10 to 15. And when you whittle it down to what I have a $700 limit. If I find a place that's more than that, it doesn't count as part of the search. Because the requirement is I find 5 places every week that are under 700. There aren't. There's 10. There's no more than 10. And I found them all. And I talked to both of the landlords that own all of them. And I don't have a job. They won't give me the time of day. So now I'm in this place where they're demanding that I find places, but these places don't exist. And so they're threatening me and all this other stuff. But I thought it was kind of ironic that the timing of everything coincides with all of a sudden I'm getting threatened by social services that they're going to do something to me if I don't keep looking for apartments that don't exist. But at the same time, all of a sudden the probation department down in Texas is moving my transfer request forward. And it seems to be going a lot faster than it normally would. So maybe God's at work there. Maybe this is just a sign that my time in Jamestown's coming to a close, and I'm not going to worry about it. But it is on my nerves. When you're getting threatened by people like that and you're being treated like crap, it just, it adds to your stress. And so I have found all 10 apartments that Jamestown has to offer. Nobody's going to give me the time of day if I don't have a job. And there's no jobs here. So unless I find a remote job, one of these, I'm in the running now for 2 software jobs. The one in Pittsburgh that I've been talking about, and that was the $200,000 a year job. I never thought I'd make it to the second round of that interview process, and I made it to the second round, but I haven't heard anything back after the second round, so it doesn't surprise me. But this other company, the one that's been jerking me around for 9 going on 10 weeks, I honestly don't even know if I'm going to keep reaching out to them to see. I'd say like once every other week, I'm at the point where I'm reaching out to say, hey, you guys still... I think I'm just going to let that one go at this point and not even talk to them again, because if they want to hire me, they'll find me. Otherwise, what's the point anymore? I'm just sick and tired of being... And here's the thing, if the economy is crashing like we've seen the last day or so, if that continues, if this stock market crash is a real crash, I'm done. Forget it. I'll never find a job. And nobody who works in this kind of work will ever find a job, possibly again, because we all know what's going to happen in November when they rig this election again, and we're going to be stuck with the people that we're not. We'll go there in a minute. But yeah, all these thoughts about possibly moving to Texas, I noticed a change in my mental state as soon as my friend told me that what he told me on Saturday, that they're moving this forward pretty quick. It's still not 100%, and that's messing with me mentally. They could still turn around, call me, and say that we denied it. But I'm hoping that they make the determination this week, because that'll help me mentally shift gears and have an actual plan. Because for the last, I don't know how many weeks it's been April 2nd since I got out of prison, and it's been nothing but chaos. I've not experienced anything other than 100% chaos since the day I was released. So I need, just something to focus on would be nice. Something positive. These people have just let me sit here in limbo. Honestly, I was supposed to be released on April 1st. That's how much they botched my situation. I was supposed to be released on April 1st, and April Fools, they kept me in prison for another day because they screwed up my transportation to get home. And then they still screwed up the next day. They still got me stranded in Bridgeport, Connecticut the day I was released, and I had to go through an absolute nightmare to get that straightened out. And I don't even want to... I've talked about that a few times on these videos. Go and find, if you're new to the channel, just go watch some other videos. But that was a bad situation. But when I finally got home, I was treated like complete garbage from the second I sat down in the car at the bus stop. And then for 6 straight weeks. And then I was thrown out into the street to be treated like garbage and to be treated like a little kid every time I turn around. So it's hard to deal with. It's been hard to deal with. And, go ahead, you trolls. You show up every day to gloat and leave your stupid comments on every single video. So obviously you people you don't have a life either if you're sitting around all day waiting to pounce on the video when it comes out. So you can leave your obnoxious comments. But I'm just saying, I'm not in a positive state this week. I noticed a huge shift toward the negative when I got good news about Texas being very close to the finish line in terms of getting it approved and everything. And I can't explain why, but I think it was instantaneous on Saturday, and I've been in this mental state since. And I think it's just, like I said, the fact that life has been nothing but chaos since April 1st, April 2nd, whatever. And I haven't had a single day to relax or get my head straight, because every single day since the day of my release has been filled with people treating me like garbage. And I might have had a few breaks from it for maybe 8 hours at the most. Maybe an 8-hour break. And, but even during those 8-hour breaks, I was just sitting waiting for someone to come home and start treating me like garbage. I spent the whole day just going, well, look at the time. I got about 4 hours left of peace and quiet before I have to deal with this asshole. So that's pretty much what my life has been. And now, even if people aren't really treating me like garbage, but acting as if they care, I need to get away. I just need a real break from it all. And like I said, the job front, if the economy is really going to crash, and this isn't just some temporary thing that we're experiencing right now, if this is like a real honest to goodness stock market collapse like we had in 2008, then that's done. The job situation, that's finished. If the stock market's collapsing, my chances of getting a job are less than zero, and I'm going to have to figure something else out, because that's the final kiss of death in my line of work. Anytime the stock market collapses, the dot-com crash, the 2008 stock market crash, every time the stock market collapses, nobody will hire anybody who does what I do. And people who do what I do end up getting thrown into the street every time. So if this is real, if this is what's happening, then, give it a few weeks and we'll see what happens. Because sometimes, the stock market takes a big dip and then a few weeks later it's like nothing happened. So I don't know. But when there's a big one, if this is really like the big one that's, we haven't had since 2008, well, you can pretty much, there won't be any jobs. I'm trying not to let it bother me too much. I think the uncertainty of all of this being cast into the wind to flounder around and not even knowing which end of the country I'm going to be living in a week or a month from now, it's ridiculous. I think it was like right around day 20 of being homeless. I'd have to look at the exact number, but that was when the probation office told me I had to pack my bags and move to Pittsburgh, and I've been stuck here ever since. So, I don't know. I've been floundering and just waiting in limbo in this place, and I don't feel like that's... I'm not blaming anybody for that, because I think it's just a chaotic situation overall. But it's just it's adding to the stress. I certainly, I don't blame anybody but myself. But I don't deserve the extreme level of punishment that I've been dished out for what I actually did. And I'm never going to agree with that. Go ahead and make all your bullshit comments in the comment section below. Because I know all you fucking trolls are just waiting for me to say something like that so that you can jump on it and say how much of a horrible piece of garbage I am for what I did, and how I deserve to serve a life sentence and suffer for the rest of my life because of it. But you can all go fuck yourselves. I don't care. I shared a jail cell with a guy who was sentenced to 14 months for killing somebody. And then I got a 2-year sentence for making online threats. So you're never going to convince me that what I got dished out was fair, and on top of the jail sentence, they took everything from me in every way, shape, or form imaginable, and then threw me out into the street to be homeless. So, no, I don't deserve it. That was not a punishment fit for the crime, and I'm never going to agree with nothing. There will never be a day in my life where I feel like justice was served. And not just in my case, but in a lot of cases I've seen throughout the whole system since the day this happened to me. I mean, the level of corruption in America right now is pretty much at the same level as Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. They just haven't really started carting people off to the death camps just yet. But don't worry. If the election goes the way we all know it's going to go this fall, that shit's right around the corner. America is over. And if you can't see that, then I feel bad for you, because you aren't prepared for what they're going to show up and do to you. And it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on politically. They're coming to destroy your life, and they're coming to take everything you've ever worked for in your life, and it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter who you vote for, and it doesn't matter what you believe. This country is done. This country is nothing but a third world dictatorship shithole, and they're about to start doing third world dictatorship stuff. They already are, but not everybody it hasn't reached everybody's doorstep yet. So, knowing all of these things and seeing all of these things that I've seen in my life, I mean, I can go back to when I woke up to all of this corruption, and that was in 1996. It was July. We all saw TWA Flight 800 crash off the coast of Long Island. And the only reason I paid so much attention to this particular story is because I knew a woman who died on that plane. And I think I may have talked about her on some of these other videos, but I could do a whole video on how I woke up to all this stuff and the corruption and what got me down the path that I ended up on in life in terms of how much I hate this government. But I knew somebody who died on that plane, so I paid more attention to that story over the following months and even years. And that one story led down the rabbit hole of learning how crooked all of these people are at the top. And just one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. It was just a chain of revelation and a synchronicities and things being revealed and just learning about things. And then those branch off into more topics and discussions. And before you know it, I was really young when that plane crashed. And I couldn't even tell you who the vice president was, didn't know the name of the governor. I just did not care about anything politics-wise. Not at all. Did not care. All I really knew at a young age was that they're all a bunch of crooks. So why do I care who they are and what their names are? They're just a bunch of scumbag crooks. But I was 20 years old when that plane crashed. And back then, things weren't as bad in our country as they are now. It's not like the nightmare we're living these days. I had some problems. I was in the midst of my first of the 3 life crisis periods I talked about. And this was shortly after my daughter was born. But now knowing the things that I know, seeing the things that I've seen, and especially experiencing everything I've been through, especially in the last 4 years since 2020 came, it's sometimes, certain days, it's hard to keep my focus and keep my eyes on the prize. And I'm not alone with that. I think everybody who's watching this video can say that they're experiencing the same kind of things. No matter what you're going through, it's probably not good. And there are days that, you can just live your life and you can move forward and you can have optimism and all that kind of stuff. But then there's just some days that not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, especially with the country the way it is right now. And so it's easy to have days, especially when you're physically exhausted, when you're physically worn out because you did something really exhaustive, like I did on Sunday. And that turns into bringing you down mentally because the physical body and the mind are connected, And so now that the physical body is starting to recover from the abuse that I put it through last weekend, the mind will start to follow, within a day or two. I'm not worried about it. But today I'm feeling better than yesterday overall, but I'm still not 100% for sure. But, I had some time this morning. I read the book Jesus Calling. I haven't done it every single day, but lately I've been reading it more, taking a little bit of time in the morning to just kind of see what Jesus has to say to me. And this is what he said this morning, and it fit. I'm sharing it with you because it fits right in with what I'm talking about. And it says, when things seem to be going all wrong, stop and affirm your trust in me. When everything seems to be going all wrong, stop and affirm your trust in me. Calmly bring these matters to me and leave them in my capable hands. Then, simply do the next thing. Stay in touch with me through thankful, trusting prayers, resting in my sovereign control. Rejoice in me. Exult in the God of your salvation. As you trust in me, I make your feet like the feet of a deer. I enable you to walk and make progress upon your high places of trouble, suffering, or responsibility. And so that talks to me because, I feel like everything's going all wrong. And I need to stop and just trust him. Trust God. He's going to work this out. I don't know how. It's been a long several weeks since April 2nd. I was hoping things would be different. My God, I can't even, literally, my God. That's not even taking his name in vain. I'm saying, my God, I can't even wrap my head around. I thought things would be different here on August 6th when I was thinking ahead on April 2nd, the day I got out of prison. And I didn't think things would be this bad. So I just have to trust. I just have to trust that God's going to work this out. I don't know how. And maybe this whole Texas thing is part of it. And maybe, maybe he doesn't want me to get a job here in Jamestown, because what if I got a job tomorrow and then tomorrow is Wednesday, and then Thursday they call me and say, okay, pack your bags, time to go to Texas. So, I just need something. I need something to happen that is real. I don't know how to put it any other way. But anyway, the other thing I read is In Touch. It's the magazine, but I read it online. The daily devotional today, the title is The Power of the Cross. Jesus' determination to endure the cross won salvation for every person who wants to know God. The scene of the cross is a paradox. It demonstrates the power of God in what appears to be the weakest moment of his son's life. With hands and feet nailed to rough wood, Jesus looked helpless. Strength isn't always shown in dramatic ways. At times, it's seen in determined endurance. Determined endurance. So, I gotta read that again. Strength isn't always shown in dramatic ways. At times, it's seen in determined endurance. There you go. That's exactly what I'm going through right now. What power held Jesus on the cross when all authority in heaven and on earth was his? Divine love. That's what kept him there. With our eternal destiny at stake, he hung on the cross until our salvation was secured. But the power of the cross didn't end when Jesus died. His death thrust open the door of salvation to all people. Those who accept it by faith are forgiven for every sin and endured a place in heaven. Yet even after salvation, the power of the cross continues in believers' lives. Millions of people have been transformed as a result of the Savior's victory over sin and death. He set us free from sinful habits and addictions, empowering us to live victoriously in his righteousness. Have you let the cross do its work in your life? The Lord does not force its benefits on anyone. Rather, he offers them freely to all who will believe in him and walk in his ways. With each step of faith that we take, the mighty work of God in us increases. So, yeah, that was a perfect message for me to read today. Because, it don't matter how much I'm suffering right now and how much adversity I'm going through. I don't have my hands and legs nailed to a piece of wood and hung up like a Christmas tree. You know what I'm saying? And, so, I don't know. However bad things are, they're not that bad. And look what happened to Jesus. It was like the thing says, it was the weakest, most downtrodden, most... Everybody thought it was finished when they saw him hanging up. Everybody who followed Jesus thought, they couldn't believe their eyes that they saw him just hanging on a piece of wood, just hanging up waiting to die. And, and then all of a sudden he did die, and then they carried him off and threw him in a tomb, and then, 3 days later he's walking around town saying, hey, what's up, to everybody, and going to all the disciples' parties, and there were hundreds of people who said they saw him before he, was taken up to heaven, and he came back from death. And now there's a security guard walking around again. I don't know what's going on here. I think they're just on patrol, homeless patrol. So I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just going to do a couple of the plugs. I'm just going to leave it alone. It's like, I'm just going to leave it alone. So the email list, if you want to subscribe to the email list, I'm going to be sending out, I don't know how long it's going to take. I got to find some more time to get 20 photographs on the storefront. Once they're up there, I'm going to send out a deal to everybody on the email list, and that's at free.litgood.com. And in the meantime, you'll get an email back with some free wallpapers to download for your phone and your desktop computers. The store, once again, is shop.litgood.com if you want to buy some nice art for your wall. But if you want to wait until there's a better deal, sign up for that mailing list. And honestly, the more people that sign up for that mailing list, you're going to motivate me to get those 20 images up for sale. And if you click on any of the photos under the YouTube channel, they will take you to the other store, which will generally have the same products and prices as the Etsy store. It's always going to be a step behind, though, because I'm putting them on Etsy first, and then it's just a bunch of copy and paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste for an hour each photograph, and it's a lot of work. If you want to put some money in the virtual chicken bucket, I've got a couple thank you notes to write today to those people who did that in the last few days. That is donate.litgood.com, and I totally appreciate that. Someone dropped in $10 like yesterday, I think it was yesterday. That's 2 iced coffees, large iced coffees at Tim Hortons, and with some money left over. So thank you for that. And I'm on the social media: Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and I know there's more. Twitter is the one that, out of all of them, Twitter's the one that I'm focused on the most, because it's the one where I'm actually getting followers every day. I'm trying to turn my account into a meme buffet, so that if you want the freshest, funniest, best memes out there, that's where you go for that. I'm also posting some photography there and some other things, but I did get behind on the photography posts in the last few days. And I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to see where we're at on time. I'm going to run over to Tim Hortons. We're at I think it's like a 40-minute video today, something around that length. And so I hope you all have a good day. I hope you all accomplish whatever you're trying to get done today. And as long as nothing terribly wrong goes, as long as I have a okay day and things don't go terribly wrong, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.